The pristine silence of deep space was only occasionally interrupted by the hum of the starship's engines as it glided through the cosmos. Captain Nathan Jansen, a seasoned spacefarer with a reputation for navigating the most treacherous routes, had seen his fair share of oddities in the galaxy, but nothing could have prepared him for the message he had just received. "Captain, you've got to see this," said Ensign Alvarez, his voice tinged with disbelief. He handed Nathan a datapad, the screen flashing with an ornate invitation written in a language that was familiar, yet strangely formal. Nathan raised an eyebrow as he scanned the message. "The Orionis Consortium cordially invites Captain Nathan Jansen to the grand wedding celebration of Princess Alina of the Zellerix tribe on the planet Orianth." The Orionis Consortium? I've never heard of them inviting humans to their ceremonies, let alone a wedding. Are we sure this is legitimate? Nathan asked, his curiosity piqued. Alvarez nodded. It's been verified by the Galactic Federation. Apparently this is a big deal. Princess Alina is a prominent figure in their society, and this marriage is supposed to unify several major tribes. Nathan frowned slightly. And why would they want me there? I don't even know these people. Apparently they've taken an interest in Earth, particularly in our customs. Maybe they see you as a representative of humanity. Nathan chuckled. Well, I suppose I could use a break from cargo runs and diplomatic missions. A wedding doesn't sound too bad. The journey to Orianth was smooth, the starship's hyperdrive making quick work of the vast distances. As they approached the planet, Nathan was struck by its beauty. Orianth was a world of deep blue oceans and lush emerald forests, with towering crystalline spires that reflected the sunlight in dazzling arrays of color. The planet's surface was dotted with large, shimmering cities that appeared to be built from a blend of natural materials and advanced technology. As Nathan's ship descended, he was contacted by the planet's central command. Welcome to Orianth, Captain Jansen. We are honored by your presence. Please follow the designated flight path to the capital city of Zelaris. The landing platform was situated in the heart of the city, surrounded by magnificent structures that looked like they had been grown rather than constructed. As Nathan disembarked, he was greeted by a group of tall, elegantly dressed aliens, their skin a deep shade of blue with intricate patterns that seemed to glow faintly. "Greetings, Captain Jansen," said the leader of the group, a figure who stood at least 7 feet tall. "I am High Priestess Niara. It is a great honor to have a human among us for this momentous occasion." Nathan nodded politely. "The honor is mine, High Priestess. Your planet is beautiful." "Thank you, Captain. Please allow us to show you to your quarters. The wedding ceremony will begin in 2 days, and there will be many festivities leading up to it. You are welcome to partake in all of them." Nathan was escorted to a luxurious suite within a towering, crystalline building that overlooked the city. The room was spacious, with a large window that provided a breathtaking view of the surrounding landscape. As he settled in, Nathan couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. Something about the invitation still didn't sit right with him, but he pushed the thought aside, deciding to enjoy the experience. The next day, Nathan explored the city, mingling with the locals and sampling exotic foods and drinks. The people of Orianth were hospitable and seemed genuinely curious about Earth and its inhabitants. Nathan found himself answering a barrage of questions about human customs, particularly those related to marriage and family. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the city, Nathan was approached by a group of young women, all dressed in flowing garments made of shimmering fabric that seemed to change color with every movement. One of them, a striking woman with silver hair and eyes that gleamed like polished gemstones, stepped forward. "Captain Jansen, may we have the pleasure of your company this evening?" she asked, her voice melodic and enchanting. Nathan smiled, slightly taken aback by the directness of the request. "Of course, it would be my pleasure." The evening was filled with music, dancing, and laughter. The women were attentive, surrounding Nathan with warmth and affection. He couldn't help but notice that he was the center of attention, and while it was flattering, it also felt a bit overwhelming. As the night wore on, Nathan found himself alone with the silver-haired woman. They sat together on a balcony, looking out over the city as the stars began to twinkle in the sky. I've never seen anything like this, Nathan said, gesturing to the view. Your world is incredible. The woman smiled softly. And yet, it is your world that fascinates us, Captain. Your people, your customs, they are so different from ours. Nathan chuckled. I suppose that's true. But that's what makes the galaxy such an interesting place. So many different cultures and ways of life. The woman's smile faded slightly, and she looked at him with an intensity that made Nathan's heart skip a beat. There is something you should know, Captain. Something about our customs that you may not fully understand. Before Nathan could ask what she meant, the doors to the balcony burst open and a group of men entered, their expressions serious. It is time, one of them said. The woman stood up, her expression unreadable. Come, Captain, the ceremony awaits. Nathan followed her, confusion and curiosity swirling in his mind. He had no idea what was about to happen, but he had a feeling that this was no ordinary wedding. Chapter 2. The Ceremony. Nathan was led through a series of ornate hallways, the walls adorned with shimmering crystals and intricate carvings depicting scenes from Orient's history. The further they went, the more elaborate the decorations became, with golden statues and fountains of cascading liquid light illuminating their path. The air was thick with the scent of exotic flowers, a heady aroma that was both intoxicating and disorienting. The group finally arrived at a massive set of doors, intricately carved with symbols that Nathan didn't recognize. The silver-haired woman turned to him, her expression serious. Captain, what you are about to witness is the most sacred ceremony in our culture. Please keep an open mind and do not be alarmed by what you see. Nathan nodded, though he couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had been growing within him since he received the invitation. The doors slowly swung open, revealing a grand chamber filled with hundreds of Orianthians, all dressed in their finest attire. The room was bathed in a soft golden light that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, casting everything in a warm, ethereal glow. At the far end of the chamber, on a raised dais, stood Princess Alina, the bride-to-be. She was a vision of beauty, her blue skin adorned with shimmering patterns that seemed to dance in the light. Her eyes were like twin moons, glowing softly as she gazed out at the assembled crowd. Nathan could feel the weight of her gaze as it briefly met his, a strange mix of emotions flickering in her expression. The High Priestess Nyara stood beside the princess, her tall, regal form draped in a flowing robe of silver and gold. She raised her hands, and the room fell silent. Welcome, honored guests, to the union of our beloved Princess Alina and her chosen consorts. Nathan's heart skipped a beat. Consorts, plural. He glanced around the room, noticing for the first time that there were several men standing near the dais, all of them looking as confused as he felt. The realization began to dawn on him. This wasn't just a wedding. It was a ceremony of multiple unions. Nyara continued, her voice echoing through the chamber. The union of the Zellerix tribe with the other tribes is a momentous occasion, one that will bring peace and prosperity to our people. The chosen consorts will share in this union, binding their fates to that of the princess. Nathan's mind raced as he tried to make sense of what was happening. The invitation had mentioned a wedding, but there had been no indication that he was expected to participate in any way. He was just a guest, wasn't he? Before he could voice his concerns, the silver-haired woman took his hand and gently led him toward the dais. The other men followed suit, each of them escorted by a woman from one of the other tribes. As they approached the princess, Nathan could see the mixture of emotions on her face: determination, fear, and perhaps a hint of sadness. Nyara raised her hands once more, and the room was filled with a soft, harmonious chanting. The sound was both soothing and unsettling, a melody that seemed to resonate deep within Nathan's bones. He could feel the energy in the room shifting, a palpable tension that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. The High Priestess stepped forward, holding a glowing crystal in her hands. By the light of Orient and the ancient bonds that unite us, we call upon the spirits of our ancestors to bless this union. May it bring strength, wisdom, and unity to our people. As Nyara spoke, the crystal began to emit a brilliant light that filled the chamber, washing over everyone present. Nathan felt a strange warmth spreading through his body, a sensation that was both comforting and unnerving. He glanced at the other men who seemed to be experiencing the same thing, their expressions a mix of awe and confusion. Nyara turned to face Princess Alina, her voice gentle but commanding. "Princess, do you accept these consorts as your partners, to share in the burdens and joys of leadership, and to stand by your side in all things?" Alina hesitated for a moment, her gaze flickering toward Nathan before she nodded. "I do." The High Priestess then addressed the men, her piercing gaze locking onto each of them in turn. "And do you, chosen consorts, accept Princess Alina as your leader and partner, to honor and protect her, and to uphold the unity of our people?" Nathan's mind screamed at him to say something, to protest, to demand answers, but the words wouldn't come. It was as if the very air in the chamber had stolen his voice. Somehow, he found himself nodding along with the others, a strange compulsion overriding his instincts. "Then by the power vested in me by the spirits of Orienth, I pronounce this union complete," Nyara declared, her voice resonating with finality. The room erupted into applause, the sound deafening in the enclosed space. Nathan felt a wave of dizziness wash over him as the reality of the situation began to sink in. He had come here as a guest, but he was leaving as something entirely different, something he hadn't agreed to. As the applause subsided, the silver-haired woman leaned in close, her voice a whisper in his ear. "Welcome to the family, Captain Jansen." Chapter 3. The Reality of the Union. The morning after the ceremony, Nathan awoke in his lavish quarters, the events of the previous night weighing heavily on his mind. He had barely slept, his thoughts racing as he tried to process what had happened. The implications of the ceremony were still unclear, but one thing was certain. His life had just taken a drastic and unexpected turn. He dressed quickly, hoping to find answers. As he stepped out of his room, he was met by one of the attendants, a young man with the same blue skin and glowing patterns as the others. "Captain Jansen, the princess requests your presence in the council chamber." Nathan followed the attendant through the winding corridors, his mind still reeling. The city outside was bathed in the soft light of Orienth's twin suns, casting long shadows across the crystalline structures. The beauty of the place was almost enough to distract him from his growing anxiety, but not quite. The council chamber was a grand, circular room with a high, domed ceiling that glittered with what looked like thousands of tiny stars. In the center of the room stood Princess Alina, surrounded by a group of advisors. She looked up as Nathan entered, her expression unreadable. "Captain Jansen," she said, her voice calm but laced with tension. "Thank you for coming." Nathan inclined his head slightly. "Princess, I'm not sure what happened last night, but I need to understand. What does this union mean? Why was I chosen?" Alina gestured for him to join her at the table, where a holographic map of the planet was displayed. "The union you participated in is more than just a marriage. It is a political and spiritual bond that ties our tribes together. The chosen consorts, yourself included, are now part of that bond." "But why me?" Nathan pressed. "I'm an outsider. I don't understand your customs or your politics." Alina's expression softened slightly and she sighed. "You were chosen because you represent something new, something different. The elders believed that bringing a human into the union would strengthen the ties between our people and yours. It was also a gesture of goodwill, a way to show the galaxy that Orienth is open to forging new alliances." Nathan rubbed his temples, feeling a headache coming on. "So this was all about politics?" "In part," Alina admitted, "but there is more to it than that. The bond that was created last night is not just symbolic. It is a deep spiritual connection that links us all together. You may have felt it, the warmth, the energy during the ceremony." Nathan nodded slowly. He had felt something, a strange sensation that had left him both comforted and unnerved. "What does that mean for me, for my future?" Alina hesitated before answering. "The bond is permanent. You are now a part of our tribe, and you will be expected to fulfill certain responsibilities. But you will not be alone in this. We will guide you, help you understand our ways." Nathan stared at her, struggling to grasp the enormity of what she was saying. His life had been irrevocably changed, and he wasn't sure if he could ever go back to the way things were. As if sensing his turmoil, Alina reached out and placed a hand on his arm. "I know this is difficult, Nathan, but I promise you, we will find a way to make this work. You are not a prisoner here. You are free to leave if you wish. But I hope you will stay and give us a chance to show you the beauty of our world and our culture." Nathan looked into her eyes, seeing the sincerity in her gaze. He didn't know what to do, but he knew he couldn't make a decision right now. I need some time to think." Alina nodded understandingly. "Of course. Take all the time you need. But remember, you are always welcome here." Nathan left the council chamber, his mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. He wandered the city for hours trying to come to terms with his new reality. The people he encountered greeted him warmly, offering smiles and kind words. But he couldn't shake the feeling of being out of place. As the day wore on, Nathan found himself back at the balcony where he had spoken with the silver-haired woman the night before. She was there again, her gaze focused on the horizon as the suns began to set. "Captain Jansen," she said softly as he approached. "Or should I say, Consort Jansen?" Nathan sighed, leaning against the railing beside her. "I'm not sure what I am anymore." The woman smiled gently. "You are who you have always been, a man with a strong heart and a curious spirit. The bond may have changed some things, but it does not define you." Nathan looked at her, searching her eyes for any hint of deception, but all he saw was honesty and compassion. "Why did you choose me?" he asked quietly. She turned to face him fully, her expression earnest. "Because I saw something in you that I hadn't seen in anyone else. A willingness to embrace the unknown, to take risks for the sake of discovery. That is a rare quality, one that our people value deeply." Nathan considered her words, feeling a glimmer of understanding. "So this bond, it's not just a burden, is it? It's an opportunity." "Exactly," she replied. "An opportunity to learn, to grow, to build something new. It won't be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is." Nathan took a deep breath, feeling some of the tension in his chest begin to ease. Maybe she was right. Maybe this was an opportunity, a chance to experience something truly extraordinary. "Thank you," he said sincerely, "for helping me see things differently." The woman smiled, her eyes twinkling like the stars above. "You're welcome, Nathan, and remember, no matter what happens, you are not alone. We are all in this together." As the last rays of sunlight faded, Nathan felt a sense of resolve settle within him. He still had many questions, and there would undoubtedly be challenges ahead, but for the first time since arriving on Orianth, he felt a spark of hope. Perhaps this unexpected journey was exactly what he needed. Chapter 4. Embracing the Unknown. Over the following days, Nathan slowly began to adjust to his new role as one of Princess Alina's consorts. The people of Orianth treated him with respect and kindness, and while the concept of being part of a polyamorous union was foreign to him, he found that the bond between the consorts and the princess was built on mutual trust and shared responsibility rather than romantic obligation. Princess Alina herself proved to be a wise and compassionate leader, her dedication to her people evident in everything she did. She took the time to explain the intricacies of Orianthian culture to Nathan, helping him navigate the complexities of their society. In return, Nathan shared stories of Earth, his experiences as a starship captain, and the values that humanity held dear. One evening, as they sat together in the royal gardens, Alina asked Nathan about his life before coming to Orianth. "You've seen so much of the galaxy, Nathan. Do you ever miss your home?" Nathan leaned back against the soft grass, looking up at the sky. The twin moons of Orianth were rising, casting a silvery glow over the landscape. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but space has always been my true home. I love the adventure, the thrill of discovering new worlds and meeting new species. Earth will always be special to me, but I belong out here, among the stars." Alina smiled, a wistful look in her eyes. "I envy that freedom. As a princess, my path has always been decided for me. But now, with this union, I feel like I'm starting a new journey, a journey I can share with all of you." Nathan turned to her, studying her profile as she gazed at the moons. Do you ever wish things were different? That you could have chosen your own path? Alina was silent for a moment. Then she shook her head. No, I believe that every choice, every step we take, leads us to where we are meant to be. If I had chosen differently, I wouldn't have met you or the others, and I wouldn't have had the chance to unite our tribes in such a meaningful way. Nathan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. You're right, and maybe this bond, this union, isn't just about politics or tradition. Maybe it's about finding strength in each other, in our differences. Alina's smile widened, and she reached out to gently take his hand. I think you're beginning to understand, Nathan. The bond we share is about more than just duty. It's about connection, about building a future together. As they sat in comfortable silence, Nathan felt a sense of peace he hadn't known in a long time. The anxiety and confusion that had plagued him since his arrival on Orianth were slowly being replaced by a deeper understanding and acceptance of his new reality. The other consorts, too, had become like brothers to him, each of them bringing their own unique perspectives and strengths to the Union. Together they formed a team that supported and challenged each other, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. One evening, after a long day of council meetings and diplomatic discussions, Nathan found himself in the company of the silver-haired woman once more. Her name, he had learned, was Lysera, and she was one of the most respected members of the Zellerix tribe. They sat together on the same balcony where they had first spoken, the night air cool and refreshing. Lysara sipped from a glass of pale, glowing liquid, a customary drink of celebration on Orianth. How are you finding your new life, Nathan? She asked, her voice soft and curious. Nathan considered her question carefully. It's different, he admitted. Challenging, sometimes confusing, but it's also rewarding. I'm learning so much, not just about your culture, but about myself as well. Lysara nodded, her gaze thoughtful. That is good to hear. You have adapted well, Captain. Many would have resisted such a drastic change, but you have embraced it. Nathan smiled wryly. I'm not sure I had much of a choice. You always have a choice, Lysara corrected gently. But you chose to stay, to learn, and to grow. That is something to be proud of. Nathan looked out over the city, the lights twinkling like stars in the darkness. What about you, Lysara? What do you think of all this? Lysara was silent for a moment. Then she set down her glass and turned to him, her expression serious. I think that we are on the brink of something incredible, Nathan. This union, this bond, it has the potential to reshape our world, to bring our people closer together in ways we never imagined. And with you as part of it, I believe we can achieve great things. Nathan felt a warmth in his chest at her words, a sense of purpose that he hadn't felt in a long time. Thank you, Lysara. That means a lot coming from you. She smiled, her eyes shining with sincerity. You are welcome, Nathan, and remember, you are not alone in this. We are all here to support you, to help you find your place in our world. As the night wore on, Nathan and Lysara continued to talk, sharing stories and experiences from their respective worlds. For the first time since arriving on Orianth, Nathan felt truly at ease, his doubts and fears melting away in the face of genuine connection and understanding. He had come to this planet as a guest, unaware of the role he would play in its future. But now, he was no longer an outsider. He was part of something larger than himself, something that had the potential to change the course of history. As the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon, Nathan knew that he had made the right choice. He would stay on Orianth, not as a consort or a political pawn, but as a partner, a leader, and a friend. And together, they would face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by a bond that transcended culture, species, and even the stars themselves.